This dog's story is heartbreaking. This once playful puppy would lick your face off when he was happy. But now he flinches whenever anyone tries to touch him. And the reason why is not what you think. It all started when this adorable golden retriever puppy named Buddy was just 8 weeks old. He lived with his mom and his 6 siblings on a farm in Pennsylvania. They were happy there. The farmer who owned them gave them lots of food and made sure they were healthy. But he didn't have time to play with the puppies, so they spent most of their days alone. The only thing that kept them company was an old, worn-out sheepskin rug that had been outside for many years, but the puppies loved it. They would chew on it, play fight on it, and take turns licking the spots where the sheep had shed its wool. It was the closest thing to a toy that they had, so they cherished it. But one day the farmer came outside and saw the puppies playing with the sheepskin rug. He thought it looked funny, so he grabbed a hold of it and tossed it up in the air. Then he watched as the puppies scattered and desperately tried to grab the rug before it landed on the ground. At first it was just a game to the puppies. They thought it was fun to chase after the rug. And every time the farmer threw it down, they ran over and licked it as if to say, "Don't worry, we got you." But then the farmer started moving the rug around faster and faster, and the puppies couldn't keep up. So he began scaring them. They would whimper and hide while the rug was in the air. And by the time it hit the ground, they were too scared to go anywhere near it. The farmer felt bad about hurting the puppies, but he thought it was funny, so he kept doing it. One day, though, something terrible happened. One of the puppies, named Buddy, got trapped behind a barn and couldn't get out. The other puppies started barking and scratching at the door to let him out, but no one came. Buddy was all alone, and he began crying for help. That's when the farmer found him. He picked him up and carried him back to the main barn. The other puppies were licking Buddy when he got back, but he didn't seem very happy. He didn't want to play or eat. He just laid down and stared off into space. The farmer didn't think much of it. He assumed Buddy was tired and needed a nap, so he left him alone. But the next morning, Buddy was still acting strange. He didn't want anything to do with the other puppies. He didn't even bark or wag his tail when the farmer came by. He just sat there staring at the ground. By that afternoon, Buddy wasn't acting like a playful puppy anymore. His eyes were wide open and he was shaking uncontrollably. The farmer took him out back and watched as he convulsed on the ground. Then he disappeared into the cornfield. The farmer called for help, but by the time Buddy was found, he had already passed away. None of the other puppies ever forgot what happened to their brother. They never forgot the terror they felt when the farmer tossed the sheepskin rug in the air. And they definitely never forgot how helpless Buddy was when he needed their help the most. That's why when the farmer later decided to get rid of the sheepskin rug, they were ecstatic. It might not have been a toy, but it was all they had known for the first 8 weeks of their lives. And even though it scared them, they still loved it. They missed being able to chomp on its frayed edges and smell their mother's milk that was still seeping through its fibers. But now they could roam freely across the pasture and chase butterflies instead. Maybe they would even make new friends along the way. Surely they would all be adopted soon and live happy lives as pets. Or maybe not. Not long after Buddy died, the farmer put the remaining puppies up for sale. He wanted to get rid of them as fast as possible, because he was getting sued by the neighbor for letting his dogs run loose. He knew they had bitten someone, and he didn't want the same thing to happen again. So he took the puppies to a local pet store and told the owner to sell them for as much money as he could. The pet store owner agreed and gave the puppies food and water and a warm place to sleep until they were adopted. But no one came to buy them. Weeks turned into months, and the puppies became dogs. They grew bigger and stronger, but they also became sadder and more depressed. They spent their days staring out the window, hoping someone would come and pick them, but no one did. Meanwhile, Buddy's sister, Honey, had been adopted by a nice family. She was now living in a big house with a big yard. But she didn't feel happy. She missed her siblings and wondered what had happened to them. Every night she would dream about playing with them in the pasture and chasing butterflies together. But those were just dreams. In reality, her siblings were still stuck in the pet store. Then one day, Honey's owner saw something on TV about the local animal shelter, so he picked her up and brought her there. "I'm sorry, Honey," he said, "but I can't take care of you anymore. You need a real home where someone loves you and plays with you every day." Honey barked sadly and licked his hand one last time before disappearing into the shelter. When she turned around, she saw all of her old siblings standing in front of her. They were dirty and skinny, but they were alive. They had been adopted by different families, but none of them worked out. And now they were back at the shelter, waiting for a new chance at a real home. When Honey saw her siblings, she barked excitedly and ran over to lick them. But then she stopped. She noticed that they weren't as playful as they used to be. Her brother Bruno, who used to be the biggest goofball of the litter, now looked down at the ground. He didn't even lift his head when she called his name. His tail was also tucked between his legs, which meant he was scared or uncomfortable. Her other sister, Lola, seemed a little bit happier, but when Honey approached her, she flinched and moved away. "What's wrong with her?" Honey asked the shelter worker. "Why doesn't she want to play?" The worker sighed. "We don't know what happened to these dogs while they were living on that farm," she said, "but they're all suffering from anxiety and fear. Any human touch sends them into a panic. They think we're going to hurt them like the farmer did." Honey couldn't believe it. She couldn't imagine why the farmer would want to hurt her or her siblings. They were sweet, loving dogs who just wanted to be petted. Or at least she remembered them that way. But then she remembered what had happened to Buddy. She remembered how scared he had been, how he had begged the farmer for help. And she realized that maybe the farmer hadn't meant to hurt them. Maybe he just liked to have fun by making them scared. Well, that didn't change anything. The fact was, her siblings needed help now, and Honey knew she had to be the one to do it. She was the only one of the litter who had experienced love and kindness from humans. And she knew if she could show her siblings that not all people are bad, they could finally be happy again. So Honey started spending more time with her siblings, licking them and trying to get them to play. At first they didn't respond, but eventually they began wagging their tails. Then one day, Bruno actually came up to Honey and nudged her with his nose. "Do you really think we can trust humans again?" he asked. "I don't know," Honey replied. "But we have to try. We deserve to have a home." And from that day on, they all agreed to try and be adopted again. At first, potential owners would come in, take the dogs for a walk, and then return them. But then a miracle happened. A family came in who understood that it would take time for the dogs to trust them. They adopted Bruno, Lola, and the others, and they gave them the time and patience they needed. And now all of the dogs from that litter are happy and healthy. They still get scared sometimes, but they know their humans will comfort them and make sure they're okay. As for Honey, she stayed with the family who had rescued her. She's the happiest dog in the world now, and she gets to visit her siblings every weekend.